Captain Tejo stood on the bridge of the UES Harmony, watching the stars through the main window. The ship was Earth's first deep space explorer. It had been traveling for 6 months, looking for new worlds and hopefully new friends among the stars. "Captain," called Hyejin from her station. She was the communications officer, a young woman with bright eyes and quick fingers that danced across her controls. "I'm getting something strange on the sensors." Tejo walked over to her station. "What kind of strange?" "There's a ship out there. It's not like anything we've seen before." Hyejin's voice was excited but careful. "The design is completely different from human ships. I think we found them, Captain. Them, aliens. The whole reason for this mission was to find other intelligent life in the universe. Earth had been listening to the stars for decades, but this was the first time humans had traveled far enough to actually meet anyone." "Get me a visual," Tejo said. His heart was beating fast, but he tried to stay calm. This was the most important moment in human history. The main screen flickered and showed an image of space. There, floating like a crystal flower, was the alien ship. It was beautiful. The hull seemed to be made of some kind of clear material that sparkled with inner light. It was nothing like the metal and composites of human ships. "It's gorgeous," whispered Dr. Bin, the ship's scientist. He was a quiet man who usually stayed in his lab, but today he was on the bridge with everyone else. "Look at how it moves. It's like it's dancing through space." The alien ship was indeed moving in a strange way. Instead of the straight lines that human ships used, it flowed through space like water. It came closer to the Harmony, but not in a threatening way. It seemed curious. "Captain," Hyejin said, "they're sending us a signal. It's not radio or laser. It's something else. Something that makes the air on the ship vibrate with sound. Can you understand it?" "The computer is working on it. Give me a minute." Hyejin worked at her controls. "I think they're trying to say hello. The pattern is repeated 3 times. That usually means a greeting." Tejo took a deep breath. "Send our greeting back. Use the same pattern they used." Hyejin's fingers moved across her controls. A soft musical tone filled the bridge as the Harmony sent its reply. On the screen, the alien ship's lights grew brighter for a moment, then dimmed. It moved closer. "They're responding," Dr. Bin said. "I think they want to talk." For the next hour, the 2 ships exchanged simple messages. The aliens seemed friendly and curious, just like the humans. Slowly, with the help of the ship's computer, they began to understand each other's basic language. The aliens called themselves the Volari. They were from a world of crystal caves and singing winds. They had been exploring space for a long time, but they had never met humans before. "Captain," Hyejin said, "they want to do a cultural exchange. They want to share information about our peoples with each other." Tejo smiled. This was exactly what Earth had hoped for. "Tell them yes. Prepare the welcome package." The welcome package was something Earth's best minds had worked on for years. It contained everything that made humanity special. Music, art, movies, books, and documentaries about human history and culture. It was meant to show aliens the best of what humans could be. "Package ready, Captain," Hyejin said. "Should I send it?" "Do it." The data stream flowed from the Harmony to the alien ship. Tejo imagined the Volari receiving Earth's greatest hits. Mozart and Beethoven, Shakespeare, and movies like Star Wars. Pictures of Earth's beautiful mountains and oceans. Stories of human courage and kindness. But the package also contained other things. Things that seemed normal to humans but might look different to aliens. It had action movies with explosions and fighting. Historical documentaries about human wars. Sports footage showing people hitting each other in boxing and football. Extreme sports videos of humans jumping from cliffs and climbing mountains. It had survival shows where humans ate bugs and drank dirty water to stay alive. Military training videos. Footage of humans living in deserts, jungles, and frozen wastelands. Videos of humans swimming with sharks and handling venomous snakes. To humans, these were just parts of life. Sports were fun. History was important to remember. Survival shows were entertainment. Extreme sports showed human courage and skill. The Volari ship received all of this information at once. For several minutes, nothing happened. The alien ship just floated in space, its lights dim. Tejo began to worry. "Are they okay?" he asked. "I'm getting lots of signal activity from their ship," Hyejin said. "I think they're looking at our package." Then suddenly the alien ship's lights flashed bright red. It began moving away from the Harmony very quickly. "Hey, wait!" Tejo called, even though he knew they couldn't hear him. "Hyejin, tell them we want to keep talking." But the Valari ship was already far away. As it fled, it sent out a powerful signal in all directions. The ship's computer translated it. Warning to all Valari ships and allied species. We have encountered a species of extreme danger. They call themselves humans. They are from a death world and appear to be impossible creatures of violence and destruction. They fight each other for entertainment. They survive in conditions that would kill any civilized being. They eat poison and swim with predators. They train for war from childhood and have weapons that can destroy planets. Avoid contact at all costs. Flee if encountered. The bridge of the Harmony was quiet for a long moment. What just happened? Dr. Ben asked. Tejo looked at the empty space where the alien ship had been. I think we scared them. But how? We were friendly. We shared our culture. He-Jin read through the translated warning message again. I think they misunderstood our welcome package. All those movies and documentaries about survival and fighting. To them, it must have looked like we were bragging about being dangerous. But those are just normal human things, Dr. Ben said. Sports and movies and history. To us, Tejo said slowly. To us, they're normal. But maybe to aliens who never had to fight to survive, we look like monsters. The communications officer checked her instruments again. Captain, that warning signal is spreading. Other alien ships are receiving it and passing it on. I think the whole galaxy is going to hear about us. Tejo sat down in his captain's chair. This was not how first contact was supposed to go. Earth had dreamed of peaceful meetings and friendship among the stars. Instead, humanity had accidentally declared itself the scariest species in the galaxy. Should we go after them? He-Jin asked. Try to explain? Tejo thought about it. The Valari ship was already gone, and chasing after aliens who thought you were dangerous probably wasn't a good idea. No, he said. We'll head home and report what happened. Earth needs to know about this. Maybe the smart people back home can figure out how to fix it. As the Harmony turned toward Earth, Tejo made a note in the ship's log. First contact with alien species achieved. Cultural exchange attempted. Results. Aliens think humans are terrifying death monsters. Mission status could have gone better. He had no idea that this was just the beginning. The Valari warning was spreading across the galaxy like wildfire. Every alien species that heard it began to fear the humans. And soon, more human ships would encounter these frightened aliens, making the misunderstanding even worse. In trying to show the best of humanity, they had accidentally shown aliens exactly why humans were the most dangerous species in the universe. Dr. So-Young looked out the window of the UES Discovery as it approached the trade station. The station was huge, made of gleaming metal that curved and twisted like a giant sculpture floating in space. Ships of many different designs were docked to it like flowers attached to a silver tree. It's beautiful, she said to her assistant Jinwoo. I can't believe we're really meeting more aliens. 3 months had passed since the Harmony's encounter with the Valari. Earth still didn't know that the galaxy now thought humans were terrifying monsters. The Discovery was on a scientific mission to study alien life and hopefully make better contact than the first ship had managed. Dr. So-Young called Captain Lee from the bridge. The station is responding to our request. They're willing to let us dock. They say they're called the Quillen Collective. So-Young smiled. Maybe this time first contact would go better. The Discovery docked with a soft bump. Through the airlocks came strange sounds, chirping and whistling that sounded almost like bird songs. When the doors opened, So-Young gasped. The aliens looked like birds, but much larger than any bird on Earth. They stood as tall as humans, but had feathers instead of skin and bright, intelligent eyes. Their hands were more like talons, but gentle ones that could hold tools and write. The lead Quillen stepped forward. His feathers were blue and gold, and he wore a simple vest with many pockets. When he spoke, the words came out in musical chirps that the ship's computer translated. Welcome, beings from the distant star, he said. I am Kretuk, trademaster of this station. We have heard strange stories about your species, but we believe in judging beings by their actions, not by rumors. So-Young felt relieved. At least these aliens were willing to give humans a chance. Thank you, she said. I'm Dr. So-Young, and this is my research team. We come in peace and friendship. Kretuk's feathers ruffled slightly. Peace, yes. We hope for peace. Please come inside our station. But first, our medical officer must check if you can breathe our air safely. The medical check was where things started to go wrong, though So-Young didn't realize it at the time. The Quillen medical officer, whose name sounded like wind chimes, scanned the humans with a device that looked like a crystal wand. The device beeped and chirped as it read their life signs. Fascinating, the medical officer said, but his voice sounded worried. These beings have incredible vital signs. Their hearts beat much faster than any species we know. Their blood pressure would kill most creatures. And their stress hormones. They are always ready for battle. So Young laughed. Oh, that's normal for humans. We evolved on a world with higher gravity and more dangers than most planets. Our bodies just work differently. But to the Quillen, who came from a gentle world with low gravity and no predators, humans seemed impossible. How could any creature live with such intense body functions? It was like their bodies were weapons that never turned off. Things got worse when So Young and her team were invited to share a meal. This is our finest food, Kretok said, offering them a bowl of something that looked like colorful soup. It is made from the sweetest fruits of our homeworld. So Young tasted it politely. It was very sweet, almost too sweet for human taste. It's lovely, she said. Would you like to try some of our food? Jin Woo opened their emergency rations and pulled out a thermos of coffee and some chocolate bars. So Young poured herself a cup of coffee and took a sip. Ah, perfect. I can't function without my morning coffee. The Quillen medical officer dropped his instruments. His feathers turned pale. You're drinking Kavrine extract, he chirped in horror. That substance is used to clean metal. It dissolves organic matter. Coffee? So Young looked confused. It's just a mild stimulant, very popular on Earth. Jin Woo unwrapped a chocolate bar and offered it to Kretok. Try this. It's chocolate. It's one of our favorite treats. Kretok backed away as if Jin Woo was holding a weapon. Theobromine alkaloids. Those compounds are deadly poison. You consume death chemicals for pleasure? So Young and Jin Woo looked at each other. Chocolate is poisonous to some Earth animals, So Young said slowly, but not to humans. We can eat lots of things that other species can't. To the Quillen, this was terrifying. These humans were casually drinking industrial solvent and eating deadly poison as if it was nothing. What kind of creatures were they? But the real panic started when Security Chief Dong Hyun came aboard. Dong Hyun was a friendly man who practiced martial arts in his spare time. When Kretok asked about human culture, Dong Hyun was happy to demonstrate. This is called Taekwondo, he said. It's a martial art from my homeland. He set up some wooden boards that the station's workshop had made for him. The Quillen gathered around to watch, thinking they would see some kind of dance or ceremony. Dong Hyun took a deep breath, focused his energy, and broke through 3 wooden boards with his bare hand. The sound of breaking wood echoed through the station. Every Quillen present began chirping in terror. He destroyed hardened plant matter with his limbs. One of them cried, "Without tools!" cried another. How is this possible? Dong Hyun, not understanding their fear, set up more boards. This is nothing, he said with a smile. My teacher can break stone blocks. He demonstrated several more techniques, breaking boards with his hands, feet, and elbows. Each crack of breaking wood sent the Quillen into greater panic. To humans, this was just a normal demonstration of martial arts skill. But the Quillen had hollow bones like birds. The idea of deliberately striking hard objects with their bodies was impossible and horrifying. Things got even worse when engineer Minji tried to help. With a broken machine. Your quantum harmonizer has been broken for months? She asked, looking at a complex device covered in crystal components. Let me take a look. The Quillen engineers explained that the machine was very delicate and complex. They had tried everything to fix it, but the quantum alignment was wrong and they couldn't figure out how to correct it. Minji studied the machine for about 5 minutes. Then she picked up a wrench from her tool belt. Sometimes the old ways are the best ways, she said, and gave the machine a firm tap in exactly the right spot. The machine hummed to life, all its lights turning green. The Quillen engineers stared in shock. How did you do that? Kretok asked in a whisper. Percussive maintenance, Minji said cheerfully. When in doubt, give it a gentle tap. Works about half the time. But to the Quillen, what Minji had done was impossible. Their most advanced engineers couldn't fix the machine, but this human had repaired it by hitting it with a metal tool. It seemed like magic, like the humans had technology so advanced that their tools could fix anything. By the end of the day, the Quillen were convinced that humans were the most dangerous species they had ever encountered. They consumed deadly poisons as food. Their bodies were impossible engines of destruction. They could break matter with their bare hands and repair complex technology through unknown sciences. As the Discovery prepared to leave, Kretak spoke to So Young one last time. "Your people are remarkable," he said carefully. "We will remember this meeting forever." After the human ship left, Kretak immediately sent messages to every trading partner and ally the Quillen had. "Warning, we have encountered the species called humans. The rumors are true and worse than reported. They consume universal solvents and deadly alkaloids as food. Their bodies operate at impossible levels that would kill any normal being. They can destroy hardened materials with their limbs and repair quantum technology through kinetic manipulation. They appear friendly, but their casual demonstrations of impossible abilities suggest power beyond our understanding. Recommend extreme caution in any contact." So Young, meanwhile, made her own report to Earth. "Second contact successful," she wrote. "The Quillen are a friendly and intelligent species. They seemed impressed by human abilities, though they appeared nervous about our technology. Recommend sending more cultural exchange missions." She had no idea that her team's simple demonstrations had convinced an entire species that humans were unstoppable monsters. The galaxy's fear of humanity was growing stronger, and soon it would reach the most powerful military force among the stars. Diplomatic attaché Ji Woo adjusted her uniform as the UES ambassador approached the massive Nexari battle station. 6 months had passed since the Discovery's visit to the Quillen trade station, and Earth was starting to notice that something was wrong. Every alien species they encountered seemed afraid of humans. "The reports don't make sense," Ji Woo said to her assistant, Young Min. "Why do all these aliens think we're dangerous? We've been nothing but friendly." Young Min looked through the files on his tablet. "The Valari think we're violent monsters. The Quillen think we're impossible super beings. And now the Nexari Empire wants to meet with us. Maybe they can help us figure out what's going wrong." The Nexari were the galaxy's most powerful military force. Their empire stretched across hundreds of star systems, and their ships were legendary for their strength. If anyone could help humans understand the situation, it would be them. The Nexari battle station was enormous, bigger than any human city. It looked like a metal mountain floating in space covered with weapon towers and shield generators. Thousands of ships moved around it like busy insects. "Incoming transmission," announced the ship's communications officer. "The Nexari are requesting to speak with our diplomatic leader." The main screen lit up with the image of an alien that looked like a cross between a lizard and a tiger. General Vexcon had scales that shifted from green to gold, and eyes that seemed to see everything. Behind him, Ji Woo could see dozens of other Nexari officers watching nervously. "Human diplomat," Vexcon said in a deep, rumbling voice. "I am General Vexcon of the Nexari Imperial Fleet. We have agreed to this meeting because the entire galaxy speaks of your species with fear. We must understand what you are." Ji Woo smiled her most diplomatic smile. "Thank you for meeting with us, General. I'm Ji Woo, representing Earth and humanity. I think there's been a terrible misunderstanding. We're a peaceful species that only wants friendship with other worlds." Vexcon's eyes narrowed. "Peaceful? Yet every species that encounters you speaks of impossible abilities and casual displays of power. Tell me, human, what kind of world did your species evolve on?" "Earth is a beautiful planet," Ji Woo said. "It has mountains and oceans, forests and deserts. The variety is wonderful. What classification is your homeworld?" Vexcon asked. Young Min checked his files. "According to galactic standards, Earth is classified as a Class 12 death world." Every Nexari officer on the screen stepped backward. Vexcon's scales turned completely gold, which Ji Woo didn't know was a sign of extreme alarm. "A Class 12 death world?" Vexcon whispered. "No species can evolve naturally on a Class 12 world. Such planets are considered uninhabitable even with advanced technology." Ji Woo was confused. "But Earth is lovely. Sure, it has some dangerous areas, but humans have lived there for thousands of years." "Dangerous areas?" Vexcon's voice was getting higher. "Class 12 worlds have gravity that would crush most species, weather that changes without warning, deadly radiation from their star, poisonous gases in the atmosphere, violent seismic activity, and predators that hunt for sport. How do you survive?" "Well," Ji Woo said, "humans are pretty adaptable. We can live almost anywhere on Earth." She didn't realize that to aliens from gentle worlds with stable climates and no predators, the idea of surviving on a Class 12 death world was impossible. Only the most advanced technology could keep someone alive on such a planet. And here were humans claiming they had evolved there naturally. Perhaps, Vexcon said carefully, you could demonstrate some human abilities for us. We have heard strange reports. Jiwoo nodded to Marine Escort Seung-ho, who had been waiting quietly nearby. Sergeant Seung-ho, would you mind showing our hosts some basic human physical capabilities? Seung-ho was a calm professional soldier who took pride in staying in shape. He had brought some basic exercise equipment, thinking the aliens might be curious about human fitness. Of course, ma'am, he said. I'll show them some standard physical training. What followed was the most terrifying demonstration the Nexari had ever witnessed. Seung-ho started with what he considered a light workout. He lifted weights that weighed more than most adult Nexari. He ran on a treadmill at a speed that would have killed any alien officer. He did push-ups and pull-ups that demonstrated strength levels the Nexari thought were impossible. This is just basic fitness, Seung-ho explained, as he lifted a barbell loaded with heavy plates. Every human soldier maintains this level. The Nexari officers were staring in horror. According to their medical knowledge, no organic being could perform such feats without mechanical enhancement. How much gravity does your homeworld have? One Nexari scientist asked in a shaking voice. 1 gravity, Seung-ho answered. Standard Earth gravity. But what humans called 1 gravity was actually much stronger than the gravity on most alien worlds. The Nexari homeworld had only 0.7 Earth gravity. Most other species evolved on planets with even less. To them, humans were beings who had grown up in crushing conditions and developed impossible strength. Seung-ho continued his demonstration by showing temperature resistance. He held his hands under water that was hot enough to seriously injure most aliens, and then under water cold enough to freeze their blood. Humans can survive in temperatures from about -40 to +50 degrees Celsius, he explained. Of course, we prefer more comfortable ranges. The Nexari medical officer fainted. Those temperature ranges would kill every known species in the galaxy. Now, said Cultural Officer Yunbi, let me share some human literature to show our peaceful nature. She opened her tablet and began showing classic human texts. But in trying to prove that humans valued peace, she accidentally selected some very wrong examples. This is The Art of War by Sun Tzu, she said. It's an ancient text about strategy and leadership. The Nexari saw a species that had been studying warfare for thousands of years and had written detailed guides on how to win battles. This is On War by Clausewitz, Unbi continued. It's a philosophical examination of conflict and politics. The aliens saw proof that humans thought about war so much they had made it into a philosophy. And these are survival guides, she said, showing books about wilderness survival. They teach humans how to live in harsh conditions. The Nexari saw manuals that explained how humans could survive in environments that would kill any civilized being. Your children, Vexcon asked in a weak voice, what do they do for entertainment? Seung-ho smiled. Well, kids love sports. Football, basketball, soccer, and they play video games. War games are very popular. The Nexari heard that human children played war games for fun and engaged in recreational combat called sports. They imagined human babies being trained for battle from birth. And adults? Vexcon whispered. Adults enjoy sports too, Jiwoo said. Boxing, martial arts, competitive fighting. We have huge arenas where people gather to watch. The aliens heard that adult humans gathered in massive numbers to watch combat for entertainment. By the end of the meeting, the Nexari were convinced that humans were the most dangerous species in the universe. They had evolved on an impossible death world, possessed strength and endurance that defied natural law, had been studying warfare for millennia, and trained their children for combat from birth. After the human ship left, General Vexcon called an emergency meeting of the Imperial Council. Fellow Nexari, he announced, we face a threat unlike any in our history. The humans are not just dangerous, they are impossible. They are products of a world that should not be able to support life, yet they thrive there. They possess abilities that our science says cannot exist. They have been perfecting the art of war since before our civilization began. What do you recommend? Asked the Imperial Chancellor. We must warn every species in the galaxy. The humans represent an existential threat to all civilized life. They are living weapons disguised as diplomats. The Nexari sent out a message that reached every corner of the galaxy. Emergency decree from the Nexari Empire To all allied and neutral species. The species known as humans represents an unprecedented danger to galactic civilization. They are survivors of a Class 12 death world with physical capabilities that exceed all known limits. They have studied warfare for millennia and trained their young for combat. They consume substances that would kill normal beings and survive in conditions that would destroy any known technology. All species are advised to avoid contact and prepare defensive measures. This is not a drill. Meanwhile, on the UES ambassador, Jiwoo was writing her report to Earth. Meeting with Nexari Empire unsuccessful, she wrote. Despite our best efforts to demonstrate human peaceful intentions, the Nexari seemed extremely nervous about human capabilities. They appeared particularly concerned about Earth's environmental classification and human physical abilities. Recommend sending scientists to explain human biology and planetary conditions in terms aliens can understand. She had no idea that her diplomatic mission had just convinced the galaxy's most powerful military force that humanity was planning to conquer the universe. The misunderstanding was now complete, and soon events would force humans to live up to their terrifying reputation. Captain Jae-sung was drinking his morning coffee when the emergency message came through. The UES Defiance was on a routine patrol mission near the outer colonies when every communication channel suddenly filled with desperate voices. This is Admiral Kretak of the Quillen Defense Fleet, came the first message. We are under massive attack by unknown hostiles. Our entire fleet is being destroyed. We need immediate assistance. Nexari Battle Group 7 requesting emergency aid, came another voice. The swarm has returned. Repeat, the Zephyrian swarm has returned. We cannot hold them. All ships, all species, called a third voice that sounded like music being torn apart. This is what remains of the Volari High Command. The ancient enemy has awakened. Our worlds are burning. Please, if anyone can hear this, we need help. Jae-sung put down his coffee cup and stood up quickly. Communications. Get me a clear channel to Earth Command. Sir, replied his communications officer Kyung-soo. It's going to take hours to reach Earth. These distress calls are coming from the galactic core. Something big is happening right now. On the main screen, Tactical Officer Hana was pulling up star charts. Captain, I'm reading massive energy signatures from the core worlds. Whatever's attacking them, it's huge. What do we know about this Zephyrian swarm? Jae-sung asked. Dr. Woo Jin, the ship's xenobiologist, checked his database. According to the alien files we've collected, they're an ancient species that disappeared centuries ago. Insectoid hive mind. Extremely aggressive. Technology based on biological organisms instead of machines. The galaxy thought they were extinct. Another message came through, this one from General Vexcon himself. Human vessels, if you can hear this transmission, the Nexari Empire formally requests your aid. The Zephyrian swarm has emerged from the galactic void with a fleet beyond counting. Every species that has encountered your people speaks of your impossible capabilities. We need those capabilities now. Jae-sung looked around his bridge. The crew of the Defiance was good, but they were just one ship. How many human vessels are in this sector? The Defiance, the UES Courage, and the UES Determination, Hana reported. 3 ships total. Against an entire swarm, Woo Jin said quietly. Jae-sung thought about all the reports he'd read about how aliens feared humans. He had never understood why. Humans seemed normal to him, but if the galaxy thought humans were their best hope against this threat, maybe it was time to find out what made humans special. Signal the Courage and Determination, he ordered. We're going to help. 3 hours later, the small human fleet dropped out of hyperspace near the Nexari home system. What they saw was chaos. The space around the Nexari homeworld was filled with alien ships unlike anything in human databases. They looked like giant insects made of metal and flesh, with wings that moved through space like swimming fins. There were thousands of them, maybe tens of thousands. The combined fleets of the Nexari, Quillen, and Volari were fighting desperately, but they were clearly losing. Their ships used tactics designed for fighting other civilized species, careful formations, planned maneuvers, communication between commanders. The swarm fought differently. They moved like a living thing, flowing around enemy ships like water, attacking from all directions at once. Their ships seemed to grow new weapons and repair damage instantly. It was like fighting a living nightmare. Captain, Hana said from her fighter pilot station, the aliens are pulling back. They're trying to form a defensive line around the planet. And the swarm? Jae-sung asked. They're regrouping for what looks like a final attack. Sir, there are so many of them. Jae-sung opened a channel to the alien fleets. This is Captain Jae-sung of the human vessel Defiance. We're here to help. General Vexcon's voice came back immediately. Captain Jae-sung, thank the stars you came. But 3 ships? How can 3 ships make a difference against such numbers? Let us worry about that, Jae-sung said. Just tell us where you need us most. What happened next would become legend among every species in the galaxy. The humans didn't fight like any other species the aliens had seen. While alien ships used formal tactics and careful planning, the humans seemed to make up their strategy as they went along. Hana launched in her fighter and immediately began flying patterns that made no sense to alien observers. She didn't follow standard attack approaches or retreat patterns. Instead, she seemed to dance through space, always appearing where the enemy least expected her. To the watching aliens, it looked like Hana could predict the future. But Hana was just using human intuition and reflexes, reacting to the enemy's movements faster than any alien could process. How is she doing that? Asked a Quillen pilot over the radio. She's hitting targets before they move into position. Captain Wu Jin, commanding the Courage, coordinated his ship's attacks with split-second timing. He watched the swarm's movements and found patterns in what looked like chaos. When the swarm tried to surround his ship, he was already moving to where they couldn't follow. Impossible, whispered a Nexari tactical officer. He's making strategic decisions faster than our computers can calculate options. Engineer Young-soo, working frantically in the Determination's engine room, performed what aliens would later call miracles. When the ship's weapons overheated, he rerouted power through backup systems that weren't designed to handle that kind of energy. When the shields failed, he created new ones using the ship's hull as a conductor. They're modifying their technology in real time, reported a Valari science officer. Their engineer is evolving their ship's capabilities during combat. But what impressed the aliens most was how the humans worked together. Without complex battle plans or formal command structures, the 3 human ships moved like parts of a single organism. They covered each other's weaknesses, shared resources, and adapted to changing conditions instantly. The swarm, which had easily defeated organized alien fleets, couldn't handle the humans' chaotic but effective approach. Every time the swarm tried to predict human movements, the humans changed tactics. Every time the swarm adapted to human weapons, the humans found new ways to fight. It's like they're improvising a symphony of destruction, observed a Nexari admiral. The battle lasted 6 hours. When it was over, the swarm was retreating back into the void between galaxies. Their numbers had been cut in half, and their hive mind was confused and damaged. The human ships regrouped near the alien fleet. They looked battered but victorious. Captain Jae-sung, General Vexcon's voice was full of wonder. How did you do that? How did 3 ships defeat an enemy that destroyed our combined fleets? Jae-sung was tired and didn't understand what the aliens found so amazing. We just did what humans do. We adapted. We worked together. We didn't give up. But your tactics made no sense, protested a Quillen commander. You had no formal battle plan. Plans are good, said Hana, who had just returned from her fighter. But sometimes you have to throw away the plan and just react to what's happening. Your technology performed beyond its designed capabilities, added a Valari engineer. Young-soo laughed. That's what tools are for. If something needs to work differently, you make it work differently. And your strategic coordination, marveled a Nexari tactical expert. You functioned as a perfect unit without complex communication protocols. We've been working together for years, Wu Jin explained. When you trust your teammates, you don't need to talk everything through. You just know what they're going to do. As the human ships prepared to head home, every alien species in the fleet watched them with new understanding. These weren't the impossible monsters they had imagined. They were something far more impressive. Ordinary beings who became extraordinary when faced with the impossible. Captain, Kyung-soo said as the Defiance jumped to hyperspace, we're getting messages from across the galaxy. Everyone wants to know how we defeated the swarm. Jae-sung smiled. Tell them we'll be happy to explain. And maybe this time we can avoid any misunderstandings. He had no idea that the aliens no longer feared humans because they thought they were monsters. Now they respected humans because they had proven they were heroes. Ambassador Nari sat in the great conference hall of Nexus Station, looking around at representatives from dozens of alien species. 3 weeks had passed since the defeat of the Zephyrian swarm, and every species in the galaxy wanted to understand the humans who had saved them. The hall was a marvel of alien engineering, with sections designed for different species' needs. The Quillen perched on crystal branches that rang like bells when they moved. The Nexari sat on heated stone platforms that kept their cold-blooded bodies comfortable. The Valari floated in chambers filled with glowing gas that mimicked their homeworld's atmosphere. "Ambassador Nari," said General Vexcon, his scales now a calm blue-green instead of the gold of alarm. "We have called this gathering because the galaxy owes humanity a great debt. But more than that, we need to understand what we witnessed during the battle." Nari nodded. She had been chosen for this meeting because she was known for her patience and clear explanations. Earth's leaders knew that this conversation would determine humanity's place in the galaxy for generations to come. "I'm here to answer any questions you have," she said. "But first I hope we can clear up the misunderstandings that have caused so much fear." Kretak, the Quillen trade master, ruffled his feathers nervously. "Ambassador, our people have believed humans to be impossible creatures of violence and power. But after seeing how you fought the swarm, we realize our understanding was incomplete." "Let's start from the beginning," Nari said gently. "What exactly frightened your people about humanity?" For the next hour, the aliens shared their fears. The Valari spoke of the terrifying welcome package with its images of human violence and survival in impossible conditions. The Quillen described watching humans consume deadly poisons and break matter with their bare hands. The Nexari told of learning that humans evolved on a Class 12 death world and possessed impossible physical capabilities. Nari listened carefully to each concern. When they finished, she smiled. "I understand now why you were afraid. From your perspective, everything humans do must seem impossible or terrifying. But let me explain what these things really mean." She gestured to scientist Kyung-ho, who had brought equipment to demonstrate human biology. "First, let's talk about human physical abilities," Nari said. "Kyung-ho, would you show them your homeworld comparison?" Kyung-ho activated a holographic projector that showed images of different planets. Most species in the galaxy evolved on worlds with gentle conditions. Low gravity, stable weather, few predators, abundant food. Earth is different. The hologram showed Earth spinning slowly with data flowing beside it. Earth has higher gravity than most worlds, which made humans develop stronger bones and muscles. Our weather changes quickly and extremely, which taught us to adapt fast. We have many predators, which made us learn to be alert and work together. "But that makes you sound like monsters," whispered a Valari representative. "No," said Nari. "It makes us survivors. Every species develops based on their world's challenges. You developed beautiful art and peaceful philosophy because your worlds allowed it. We developed adaptability and determination because our world required it." Bo Young, the cultural expert, stood up next. "Let me explain our entertainment and food choices," she said. "The things that scared you are actually signs of our curiosity and creativity." She showed them videos of human sports. "You saw humans fighting and thought we were violent. But these are games with rules and referees. We compete for fun, to test ourselves and to celebrate human achievement. No one gets seriously hurt because the goal isn't to harm, it's to excel." "And the survival shows in extreme sports?" asked a Nexari officer. "Humans love challenges," Bo Young explained. "We climb mountains not because we have to, but because they're there. We test ourselves against nature to see what we're capable of. It's not about violence, it's about growth." Kyung-ho returned to address the poison fears. "About human diet? Yes, we can consume things that would harm other species. But that's because we evolved to eat a wide variety of foods. What you call universal solvent, coffee, is just a mild plant extract to us. Chocolate contains compounds that are toxic to some earth animals, but humans process them safely." "Our bodies aren't weapons," Nari added. "They're tools shaped by millions of years of adaptation. Just like your beautiful voices evolved for communication in crystal caves, or your light-based technology developed for beings who see in energy spectrums. Our physical abilities developed for survival in challenging conditions." A young Quillen engineer raised a wing hand. "But what about your impossible technology? We saw your engineer repair quantum systems by hitting them." Nari laughed. "That's not advanced technology, that's the opposite. Sometimes when something complex breaks down, the problem is simple. A loose connection, a stuck component. Minji fixed your machine because she was willing to try the simple solution first, not because she had magic tools. You mean, percussive maintenance isn't a sophisticated technique? The engineer asked. It's the most basic technique there is, Kyung-ho said with a grin. Sometimes things just need a gentle tap to work again. The questions continued for hours. Why did humans adapt tactics so quickly during battle? Because they had learned to improvise from living in unpredictable conditions. How did they coordinate without complex communication? Because they had learned to trust each other through facing dangers together. Why did they never give up? Because giving up meant death on a world like Earth. I begin to understand, said General Vexcon slowly. You are not superior beings. You are shaped beings. Your world shaped you to be what you are just as our world shaped us. Exactly, Nari said. We're not better than other species. We're just different. Every species has gifts that others don't have. What gifts do we have? Asked Kretak. Bo Young smiled. The Quillen have the most beautiful art in the galaxy and technology that sings. The Valari understand energy and harmony in ways humans never could. The Nexari have built the most stable civilization we've ever seen. Every species brings something unique. But, said a Valari representative, if humans are not the impossible warriors we thought, how did you defeat the swarm when all our fleets failed? Nari thought carefully before answering. Because the swarm was expecting to fight civilized species using civilized tactics. Your fleets fought the way intelligent beings should fight, with plans and formations and careful strategies. But the swarm had adapted to counter those approaches. Humans fought differently. Vexcon asked. Humans fought desperately, Nari said simply. When human lives are in danger, we don't follow rules or make perfect plans. We do whatever works. The swarm couldn't predict our tactics because we were making them up as we went along. So your victory was not because of superior power, but because of chaos? An Nexari strategist asked. Controlled chaos, Kyung-ho corrected. Humans are good at finding order in disorder. We can improvise and adapt quickly while still working toward a goal. The conversation continued deep into the night. As the aliens began to understand humanity, their fear transformed into something else. Respect, curiosity, and the beginning of real friendship. Finally, General Vexcon stood up. Ambassador Nari, the Nexari Empire would like to propose something. Instead of fearing humanity, we would like to learn from you, and we would like to teach you what we have learned as well. A mutual exchange, agreed Kretak. The Quillen would be honored to share our arts and technologies with humans, and to learn your methods of adaptation. The Valari add our voices to this harmony, sang the Valari representative. Together, all species might create something more beautiful than any could achieve alone. Nari felt tears in her eyes. This was what Earth had always hoped for. Not to dominate the galaxy, but to join it as friends and partners. On behalf of all humanity, she said, we accept. We would be honored to learn from you and to share what we know. 6 months later, Admiral Tejo stood on the bridge of the new UES Unity, watching as human and alien ships worked together to build a research station in neutral space. The station would study ways to prevent future threats like the swarm while fostering cooperation between all species. Admiral, called his communications officer, the same, Hijin who had sent that first cultural package so long ago. We're getting a message from the Valari science ship. They want to know if we'd like to join them for dinner. They've learned to make coffee that won't horrify them. Tejo laughed. Tell them yes. And Hijin? Yes, sir. Make sure our cultural package for tonight includes some nice peaceful documentaries about flower gardens and puppies. Already prepared, sir. I've learned to read the room better. As the Unity moved toward the Valari ship, Tejo reflected on the strange journey that had brought them here. Humanity had set out to find friends among the stars, and had accidentally convinced everyone they were monsters. But in the end, by being themselves, adaptable, determined, and willing to help others, they had found something better than friendship. They had found family. The galaxy was no longer afraid of humans. They understood now that humanity's strength came not from being perfect, but from being persistent. Not from having all the answers, but from being willing to keep trying until they found solutions.